Now on CoastTV News.
A young woman now recovering after being hit by a car in Dewey Beach. And a man behind bars after a 100-mile-an-hour police chase down Coastal Highway. A victim identified by Delaware State Police in the deadly motorcycle crash. The details being released tonight on that high-speed situation that ended in tragedy. And the Labor Day slowdown, what businesses say they're expecting with the unofficial close of the summer season.
And our sensational Labor Day weekend is going to continue with the beautiful sunshine, dry conditions, and cool, crisp nights. We're falling back into the 50s. I'll let you know how long this beautiful weather is going to stick around.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Good evening. I'm Grace Eckerly. Welcome to CoastTV News at 11. We begin tonight with an update in a deadly motorcycle crash. The victim identified by Delaware State Police, 39-year-old Isidoro Cerda of Dover. DSP said it happened just after 7 a.m. Friday morning on Beach Highway in Greenwood. Police say the motorcycle was speeding west, crossed into the opposite lane to pass two vehicles in front of it, then lost control, returning to its own lane. The motorcycle began to skid, left the road, and hit a utility pole. Cerda was killed in the crash. And Maryland Governor Wes Moore recognizing today, August 31st, as International Overdose Awareness Day. Flags across the state will be lowered to half-staff, and the government house will be lit purple tonight to honor those lost to drug overdoses. The governor also warning that federal cuts to treatment and recovery services would reverse Maryland's recent progress. Important to note that overdose deaths are currently on the decline statewide. And as President Trump's D.C. takeover grows, talks of expanding the National Guard into other major U.S. cities continue. Maryland's Governor Wes Moore controls the Maryland National Guard. Governor Moore says he wants federal support, but calls the National Guard deployment in Maryland, quote, completely performative.
My heart breaks for anybody who is coming up in our community and doesn't feel safe in their own neighborhood, because I know what that feels like. I would love more federal support, but federal support on things that actually make sense and not things that are performative.
Governor Moore says if asked what President Trump could do to help Maryland, his answer would be to, quote, increase funding for local law enforcement and invest in our community groups and community organizations. Labor Day weekend, widely considered the unofficial end to the summer season, and things here on the coast do tend to slow down after this. CoastTV News spoke to some beach businesses who had mixed feelings on what the long weekend means to them. Some businesses here in Rehoboth telling us that after this weekend, sales start to nosedive. But interestingly enough, over in Lewis, one store telling us that's just not the case.
At our store, September is our biggest month, followed by October. And so we are looking forward to the next 2 months, and then before you know it, you're into holiday, and that's a whole other great, opportunity.
The co-owner of Surf Shack in Rehoboth Beach tells us that this weekend marks the time when sales really start to go down. That's especially when you're selling summer items like bathing suits, towels, sunscreen. She says the winter months can be especially tough, but that they're used to it. And we're going to take a live look now into Milford. Our first alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobono, joining us now with the forecast for the last bit of Labor Day weekend.
And I'll tell you what, Grace, it has been picture perfect this weekend. Today, check out these highs. 77 in Georgetown, about 7 degrees below average. We were in the 70s along the Cambridge and Easton, 75, 76 in Ocean City. And this was sent in by our own Brandon Ferguson from Georgetown. A gorgeous sunset this evening. That kind of that orange sherbet kind of sky. We had that little cloud deck that pushed over late this afternoon, giving us those bright, vibrant sunsets. See the moon out there right now, 59 degrees in Milford. Dew points are still in the 50s, so it is very comfortable. It's going to be another cool, crisp night. Not as chilly as this morning where we dipped into the 40s, but we're now at 56 in Long Neck. We're at 58 Willards, 57 Laurel, to 61 there in Milford. Now, as far as the temperatures go, we're right on par of this cool air that we're seeing, all thanks to high pressure. Look at these high pressure systems just keeping us nice and cool and dry right through the start of the new week of September. Yes, we rounded out August and we begin September, Labor Day tomorrow, abundance of sunshine. We're going to stay cool and comfortable, and we do have a moderate risk of rip currents. We'll talk more about that coming up, but beautiful weather along the coast. 75 Dewey Beach, 75 in Lewis, and temperatures are going to be very nice. A little bit breezy at times with that wind coming off the ocean at the northeast, anywhere from 10 to 20 miles an hour. We'll actually talk about humidity returning in that extended forecast, as well as some rain chances down the road. We'll talk more about that coming up a little bit later on. Grace.
Thank you, Chris. And some big news for the future of science in the first state. Delaware State University has been awarded nearly $800,000 from the National Science Foundation. This is going to expand education programs. DSU says that they're going to use that funding to help build a diverse community of highly qualified educators and address teacher shortages in Delaware and beyond. In Ocean City, beach cleanup days are back this September, giving volunteers a chance to help keep the shoreline clean. Events are scheduled every Tuesday from 9 to 10 a.m. starting September 2nd. Locations change each week, some of those including Northside Park and 13th Street at First Presbyterian Church. The cleanups are organized by Beachgoer Heroes OC and are open to all ages. I want to show you the scene here out of Salisbury. This was just after 1 o'clock this afternoon. Salisbury Fire and EMS crews responded to a car crash with injuries at the intersection of Naylor Mill and West Road. The call to a rescue, bringing in additional units. Crews quickly extricating the patient, and all injured civilians were transported to Tidal Health. In Dewey Beach, police are investigating after a woman was hit by a car on Coastal Highway near Dagsworthy Avenue. It happened at this area on your screen now. You may be familiar with it. Officials saying the 28-year-old woman from Columbia, Maryland was conscious but injured after being hit by a Cadillac Escalade that did not stop. Surveillance video confirming that the crosswalk lights were working, and police saying the driver from Alexandria, Virginia, has been found at fault. And as we reported just last night, Dewey Beach police busy this weekend arresting a 29-year-old from Wilmington following reckless driving incident that happened on Friday night around 9:30 p.m. Here's what officers are saying happened. The driver, he was going through a few stop signs and not slowing down, swerving around other vehicles when officers tried to pull him over. They say the man tried to speed away on Coastal Highway, hitting speeds of over 70 miles an hour through a 25 zone. The driver then blowing through red lights as people were crossing the street. So that's when they jump out of the way to avoid being hit. That's according to police. Then the pursuit continued south, hitting speeds of over 100 miles an hour before police were able to pull the man over near the Indian River Inlet Bridge. The man then admitting to drinking that night and was taken into custody. For more on the chase and the full list of those charges, you can head to coasttvnews.com or our mobile app and search Dewey Beach Pursuit. And speaking of car chases, a new device being used by police known as a grappler. You can see it being used here. This is police dash cam footage from Michigan. The grappler is a net that wraps around fleeing cars' back tires, locking them into place. And the tether is attached to a patrol car. It drags the fleeing car to a sudden stop or takes it off the bumper like in this video. And it's considered a much safer way to end a police chase. And we have an update for you in the Annunciation Catholic Church shooting. The community in Minneapolis now gathering last night for the first Mass since 20 people were shot earlier this week. Reporter Ashley Graham shows us how the community is coming together in this time of need.
For days, mourners have gathered in grief, bringing flowers and candles to Annunciation Catholic Church and school. These two friends doing the same.
But we are here as believers, Catholics, to support this Christian community.
On Wednesday morning, as a gunman fired through the windows into the church, killing 2 children, Father Dennis Zarin was presiding over Mass.
It's a difficult memory, and It was loud, it just kept coming, and my first instinct was just to rush towards where the bullets were coming from.
The pastor recounting his effort to protect students in the sanctuary.
If I could have got between those bullets and the kids, that's what I was hoping to do.
Just days later, on Saturday night, Father Zarin gathered his parish for Mass for the first time since the attack.
Since Christ is Lord of heaven and earth.
Sharing a message of hope.
We watch for that light that will scatter every darkness. We watch for that light that will never fade, that will only grow stronger. We watch for that light of the world. That light of the world is Jesus Christ.
Bonnie and Joe Munn stepped out after Mass and told us they were touched by his message.
He doesn't read from the literature, he reads from his heart.
The two are glad to know this community can look to him as many seek comfort.
They're going to heal well with him being the pastor here.
Ashley Grams, WCCO News.
Video here today from Pope Leo calling an end to the, quote, pandemic of arms while praying for those victims of the church shooting. He denounced the attack and the, quote, logic of weapons fueling wars around the world. And Pope Leo's predecessor, Pope Francis, had long railed against the weapons industry and proliferation of arms fueling wars. And it's back to school season. Teachers are preparing their kids and buses to go back on the roads. We'll tell you how local educators are getting ready and the safety reminders everyone needs to know. That's Monday morning on CoastTV News.
Well, our beautiful beach days are going to continue right through Labor Day. We're looking at temperatures generally in the mid to upper 70s. Do have a moderate risk of rip currents, so keep that in mind. Always swim near those lifeguards. We'll have details about how long this extended stretch of great weather is going to stick around coming up.
After that, while many people associate the holiday weekend with the end of summer cookouts and a day off of work, we have the history behind Labor Day weekend. So don't go anywhere because we will be back in just 60 seconds. We're in the thick of Labor Day weekend here on Delmarva, and while many people are associating the holiday with end of summer cookouts and a day off of work, our Charlie Sakaitis shows us the history behind it.
Labor Day, what's it all about? Well, it's more than just a day off on the first Monday in September. It's more than the start of fall, the beginning of school, and the start of football. Labor Day is, after all, for the workers, the laborers. For the most part, we're talking about people with manufacturing jobs, construction jobs, farmhands, cleaners, and more. The people who do physical and usually hard work. It's a celebration of the achievements of the American worker, and it has got a long history. Labor activists pushed for a federal holiday of this kind all the way back in the late 19th century. And before it was a federal holiday, it was a local one. Some municipalities as early as 1885 pushed the idea. States like New York, Oregon, Colorado, Massachusetts, and New Jersey were all early adopters. In fact, more than half the country, including Delaware and Maryland, joined the fray before Grover Cleveland made it an official nationwide holiday in 1894. There is a bit of a dispute over who actually started the Labor Day push. It's generally between two men, Matthew McGuire and Peter McGuire. They weren't related, but they were both supporters of the working class, and both of them were on hand for the nation's very first Labor Day parade in New York City. A lot has changed in the more than 120 years since the federalization of Labor Day. In the early 20th century, America saw the rise of labor movements, unions, and the fight for better wages, shorter hours, and safer conditions. And you've got to remember the standard at the time: low wages, 60-hour work weeks, dangerous jobs, and no social safety net. But as America made its way through the Great Depression and a pair of world wars, those early efforts started to pay off. The New Deal era of America ushered in the Fair Labor Standards Act, creating the minimum wage, the 40-hour work week, and setting the stage for labor protections. Unions also gained power in the mid-20th century, and that's often credited with stronger negotiating power, better wages, and even benefits, things like pensions and health insurance for the working class. This graph from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities shows that from the 30s to the 50s, wealth inequality actually declined, and then it stayed somewhat flat until around 1980, when, according to data from the Congressional Budget Office, things started changing. Wages for the bottom 90% started to stagnate. Wealth inequality started to grow at a rapid pace, a trend that's continued all the way to present day. Here now in 2025, wealth inequality between the rich and the poor is again similar to the inequality of the late 1920s. Minimum wage purchasing power is at a near 70-year low, and a brand new technology, artificial intelligence, is also changing every field in ways we don't quite yet understand. So where do things go from here? Well, that's really for the politicians, the voters, and the corporations to decide. But in the meantime, if you get the day off, enjoy it, and keep labor in mind. Remember, they're the ones that keep this whole thing called America going.
And back in present day, the Social Security Administration's chief data officer has involuntarily resigned. This comes just days after a filing of a whistleblower complaint. In his resignation letter, Charles Borges wrote the agency has taken actions against him that will make it impossible to do his job, both legally and ethically. He also wrote the agency's newly installed leaders created a culture of dread. Earlier this week, he filed a whistleblower complaint saying efforts by the Department of Government Efficiency put the records of more than 300 million Americans at risk. It's the latest showdown over the Trump administration's immigration policies. A U.S. judge now barring the government from deporting Guatemalan children back to their home country. This morning, a number of Guatemalan children were bused to an airport in Texas, then loaded onto planes by the U.S. government. Moments after a federal judge in Washington, D.C. temporarily blocked the flights from taking off. Those children still inside when the order was put in place. For now, the children will remain in the U.S. while the case plays out in court.
I hope everyone is having an enjoyable holiday weekend with those you love and your friends and some great food. And I'll tell you what, the weather has delivered, and it's going to continue to deliver as we begin the month of September. Well, August just kind of flew by. We're at 57 in Salisbury, 56-degree dew point. Winds are calm, so another cool, crisp night away from the coast. We're down to 55 in Long Neck, 58 Millsboro, 60 in Milford, and we're at 59 in Bridgeville. A little bit breezy at the coast. Still seeing some gusts, 14 in Bethany, 17 Indian River Inlet. We'll see some breezy conditions tomorrow along the coast, but the comfortable conditions are going to continue at least through Wednesday. Notice as we go into Thursday and Friday, the return of those 70-degree dew points, so it's going to feel a bit more sticky by the end of the week. So soak it all up and enjoy this beautiful weather that we have in place, all thanks to an area of high pressure to our north. It's going to kind of settle right over us as we go into the holiday. Well, as we put a bow tie on the month of August, it was a cool month, 25 days below average. We were just one of the coolest Augusts on record for about the last 30 years in Georgetown, and we also have a bit of a rainfall deficit. We're running about, well, an inch and 64 tenths below where we should be. So we're starting to see some pockets of abnormally dry conditions on Delmarva. Not in a drought, but that's kind of the stage before we get to moderate drought. Also, as we flip the calendar into September, we're going to be a decreasing daylight. You see the sunsets before 7:30 there tomorrow, and then look at that, by the next 3 weeks, we're going to be seeing those sunsets around 6:58. So we're going to be losing daylight as we push forward here towards the fall season. 56 for your overnight under mostly clear skies. An absolutely magnificent Labor Day. We're at 76 in Georgetown, 77 in Cambridge. Again, could see some east-northeast winds off the water, 10 to 20. We're at 74 in Berlin. There's those sunny skies through tomorrow afternoon. Bit on the breezy side, but a gorgeous afternoon along the coast with that moderate risk of rip currents. By Tuesday, another cool, crisp evening, cool, crisp morning, and then by the afternoon, we're seeing temperatures right back in the upper 70s to around 80. And we're going to keep keep that dry weather really in play through midweek. Here's a look at some of the past Labor Days. The hottest 92 in 1954, 2014, right through 2018 and 2023. The wettest was back in 1992, where we had just under an inch of rain there. So there's that high pressure system settling in through at least Wednesday to Thursday, then it'll break down. We'll see a cold front come through Friday, maybe a shower or two, but then we're looking pretty dry as we go into next weekend. So not expecting a whole lot of rain here. Could see an isolated shower late Thursday and Friday, but notice temperatures go right back up into the mid 80s with that increase in humidity. Grace.
Thanks, Chris. And while it might be dry here, not so much in Texas. There was severe flooding there today. It left drivers stranded and roads underwater. Video here coming out of Houston. Multiple stalled cars, some drivers even trapped. It was only last month the state experienced those deadly floods that killed almost 30 people. And take a look here at this dramatic rescue this weekend in Hershey Park, when a young boy found himself walking along the track of a monorail ride at the amusement park. Thankfully, that ride was not operating at the time. The track you see on your screen now is about 20 feet above the ground. Luckily, a Good Samaritan climbing up on a nearby building to get that little guy. And initially, the boy was reported missing after becoming separated from his parents. This all happened within 20 minutes. He had entered a secured area and then gotten onto the monorail. That video now going viral on social media. Today marks the 28th anniversary of Princess Diana's death, and years later, the Princess of Wales still touching the hearts of so many. Before that fatal accident, the princess left a time capsule in the walls of a London hospital. That building now undergoing renovations, so officials decided to open it. Some of the items inside that capsule being a solar-powered calculator, British coins, a sheet of recycled paper, a European passport, and a pocket television. Also, a picture of Diana in that capsule. After the break here on CoastTV News, still no winner of that $1 billion Powerball. How long you have to play your hand? That's up next. The FDA has approved this year's updated COVID-19 vaccines, but only for a certain group of people. Those ages 65 and up, pay attention, as well as anyone who has had certain medical conditions that would put them at a higher risk for infection. According to the CDC, that includes asthma, heart disease, diabetes, and pregnancy. Doctors can still provide those vaccines, quote, off-label for those who do not meet the new eligibility criteria, says the CDC. Those vaccines expected to be available at most pharmacies and doctors' offices this fall. And in your health news tonight, about 1 in 8 men, that's how many will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. According to the American Cancer Society, experts say many Americans aren't even aware of those symptoms. And those warning signs, when they come, the disease is in its later stages and it's harder to treat. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither talks to a medical oncologist about early detection of prostate cancer, even when there are no symptoms.
It's one of the most common cancers among U.S. men, but if caught early, prostate cancer is highly treatable.
If somebody is diagnosed with prostate cancer when it's still confined to the prostate, then the chances of you being alive at 5 years is 100% from prostate cancer.
Dr. Edmund Folafak with the Ohio State University Comprehensive Cancer Center says later stage symptoms of the disease may include frequent urination, trouble emptying the bladder, blood in the urine, pelvic pain, and sexual dysfunction.
Thankfully, a majority of the prostate cancer here in the U.S. are picked up when they don't have any, when patients don't have any symptoms through screening.
Since there are often no symptoms in early stages of the disease, Folafak says those at high risk should talk to their doctor about being screened. That includes anyone with a family history of prostate cancer, people with medical conditions that may make the disease hard to treat if it's found, and African American men who are at increased risk of not only getting the disease, but dying from it. Full Effect says the prostate-specific antigen, or PSA test, tests the blood. High levels may mean cancer, but there are also other causes like an infection. PSA levels also generally rise with age.
Your doctor can then tell you what that PSA signifies and if you would undergo further testing or not.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
After the break here on Coast TV News at 11, we're going to take a live look into Rehoboth Beach now. We have your final check on your Labor Day weekend forecast. Coast TV News continues in just a few moments. The time is now 11:33 p.m. and there is still no Powerball winner yet. Players will have another chance to go for the $1 billion Powerball jackpot before the holiday weekend ends. No tickets have matched all 6 numbers drawn last night. The Powerball jackpot now at an estimated $1.1 billion. The next drawing is tomorrow night. And us humans, we have dating apps, but one lucky guy in New Zealand has a nationwide search party helping him find love. And it's worth noting that he is a snail. Meet Ned. A woman found him while digging in her garden and noticed something unusual. His shell spirals to the left, while almost all other snails spiral to the right. It turns out that Ned has a rare genetic condition that affects only 1 in 40,000 snails. The bachelor now being kept safe in a fish tank while the country tries to find his match.
Wow, a very interesting find there. We are clear skies in Salisbury, another cool, crisp night, 57 degrees. It's going to be another beautiful day as we go into our Labor Day, grilling up those burgers and chicken, looking really nice. 76 degrees by the afternoon under mostly sunny skies. You get your forecast anytime by dialing the First Alert weather phone, and your 10-day forecast shows dry weather continuing through Wednesday. We'll see a chance of a late shower Thursday, better chance of showers Friday with a cold front, and humidity is going to be bumping up Thursday and Friday.
Sounds great, Chris, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News after Sunday Night Football. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app, and we'll see you in just a few hours for Coast TV News starting at 5 a.m. Have a great night.